Oh, you who believe, give charity for the pleasure of Allah, the pleasure of Allah. Oh, you who believe, read the Quran every night of Ramadan, night of Ramadan. Welcome, oh Ramadan, it is Ramadan. It is Ramadan.
Now I'd like to come to the age of maturity, the coming of age, as we say in the West. In some places, the coming of age is noted as being 18, and others 14, as young as 14. What does Islam specify as being the coming of age?
As far as the rules of the different countries are concerned, in India, the age of adulthood or maturity is 18, Indonesia it is 19, in UK it is 16 years of age. Every country, the age of maturity, what the government or the people of the country or the law, it is different, depending upon their own understanding. But in Islam, fasting becomes compulsory, salah becomes compulsory, the acts of worship become compulsory once a person reaches the age of puberty. And there are basically three criteria. If any one of these three criteria are fulfilled, then the person is said to have reached the age of puberty. Number one is that growth of coarse pubic hair around the private parts. Number two, the person reaches the age of 15. Or there is emission of semen in a wet dream or otherwise. Or if it's a female, then she starts her menstrual cycles. The day the girl starts her menstrual cycle, she is supposed to have reached the age of puberty, irrespective, she may be below the age of 10. But the moment she reaches, the day she starts her menstrual cycle, she is considered to be a person who has reached the age of puberty.
And that's interesting as well, because you mentioned that it could be as young as 10 that a girl would reach puberty, and often said in the West.
And even now, it's quite common. Now, recently an article came a couple of months back that in Delhi, it is not uncommon for a girl of the age of 10 to start her menstrual cycles. Only if it is before the age of 9, there is a point to be worried about. Same in the Western world. Previously, it wasn't there when I did my medical college. The age was said that in the Western world about 12 to 13, India it was 13 to 14. But now, because of the change in diet and the change of climate, etc., all this has an effect on the age of puberty. But now it's quite common that girls of the age of 10, even before 10, at the age of 9, many of them, they start the menstrual period.
Right. And they seem to be maturing quicker than the boys as well. That's another question.
That's right.
Now, Dr. Zakir, on to the second category of people. We're talking about exemptions. Could you list or mention all of the different categories of people that are exempted from fasting during the month of Ramadan?
There are, in total, according to me, 13 categories of people who are exempted from fasting. The first is if the person is an unbeliever, if he is a non-Muslim. Number two, if he or she is a minor. Number three, if the person is insane. Number four, if it's a lady and she is menstruating, she need not fast. Number five, if she has her postnatal bleeding, she's exempted from fasting. Number six, if she's pregnant, then she's exempted. Number seven, if she's breastfeeding, she's exempted. Number eight, if the person is ill or is sick, he or she is exempted. Number nine, if the person is disabled. Number 10, that if the person is very elderly, has reached a very old age. Number 11, if the person is traveling. Number 12, if the person is taking part in jihad or a fight in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And number 13, under compulsion. Under compulsion, if someone forces and if the person doesn't fast, he or she is exempted. These are, in short, the 13 categories in which a person is exempted from fasting.
Excellent. Now I think we need to discuss each category on its own merits. Dr. Zakir, do all of the people that you've mentioned in the exempted categories have to make up their fast later on?
Out of the 13 categories which I mentioned, the first 3 categories, they don't have to make up their fast later on. That is a non-Muslim, that's a person who's a minor, and a person who's insane. Out of the remaining 10 categories, 2 categories, a person who is disabled for long and a person who is very elderly. These 2 people also don't have to make up for their fast, but they have to pay a ransom, the feeding of a poor person for every fast they missed. As far as the other 8 categories are concerned, the moment the condition in which they are, it gets reversed, then they have to make up for the fast which they missed. For example, in the 8 categories are, the menstruating lady, moment she finishes the menstruation, then she should make up for a fast as soon as possible, before the next Ramadan. A woman who is in the period of postnatal bleeding, the moment it gets over, she has to fast. If a lady is pregnant, the moment the pregnancy gets over and the postnatal bleeding gets over, then she has to fast. If a lady, the 4th category, if she's breastfeeding, after the breastfeeding is over, then she has to fast. Or a person who is sick, the moment he gets healthy, he or she has to fast. Similarly, a person who's traveling, moment he finishes his traveling, he has to fast. And a person who's taking part in jihad, fighting in the cause of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, moment the fight gets over, he or she has to fast. Similarly, a person who's in compulsion and is not fasting, the moment the compulsion is removed, he or she has to fast. But naturally, all these have to be done before the next Ramadan.
Inshallah, we'll meet after a short break. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.